Why real estate and why joining the family business?
As a developer, most important part is start early, complete early.
Will redevelopment be sustainable then?
So I feel in one terms we are killing our own customers when we are doing a lot of redevelopment at a chunk. More FSI does not mean more profit.
What was that failure and did you learn something from that?
Your P&L account is never fixed in redevelopment. What are you going to make the money? All the costs are variable.
You do SRA, MHADA, BMC, all three kinds of redevelopment.
Sometimes MHADA is working very well, BMC is not doing well. Sometimes BMC is doing very well, SRA is not doing very well.
आपके thoughts क्या है Proptech को लेके?
Please understand, it's riding a ship in a ocean with lot of bad weather.
What is your take on how should a customer be treated?
End of the day, when you are making a product, you will get the money from them. Then only is going to get the product. So you have to handle with care basically. So it's like a lock. Every lock has a different key.
The new scheme, which is the cluster scheme, can you explain that? Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Speaking Real Estate Podcast. Today with us we have the Managing Director and CEO of Veena Developers, who specializes in redevelopment in BMC, SRA, MHADA, and has their major work in the MMR region. So how are you, Nikunj bhai?
Thank you, Krish. Thank you for inviting us to this of your podcast channel. So hope to have a good interaction session with you.
Going to be good because I'm going to learn a lot from you today. So how has the market been for you?
So the market dynamics are currently changing upside down every yearly right now. So what we think today may not be the same after next year. What we think 1 year down the line may not be applicable after another year. So you have to be very proactive in terms of changing yourself, changing your strategies, changing the way you do business. So you have to stay connected with the market, and you have to have a day-to-day approach with the market, and you have to have that ability and capability to change yourself very quickly.
One observation which everybody would agree would be like since the COVID and since the benefit of premiums was given to all developers, it has been changing every year for sure. And one question I would like to ask, a lot of amount of acquisition was done during that period considering the premiums. So many might have started the projects, many might still be yet to be vacated and redeveloped. So what is your opinion on that?
So I feel that there will be a huge amount of supply which will come up in market. Vis-a-vis in terms of redevelopment, there are a lot of developers who have taken so many projects. There are corporates who have entered into a redevelopment segment and SRA segment right now. So in these terms, you have to match up with your strategy. You have to match up with the way of you doing business, the way you sell in open market, what schemes you offer to your customers, how are you positioning your product to your customers. That will play a most important factor, because debt is not the only solution right now. Ultimately, the market has become very capital intensive industry right now. So sales is your ultimate money which will come. So important factor for success now will be sales for that.
100%. So normally we start the conversation with knowing the education career journey. So what was your education journey?
So I had done my BCom from Bombay, and then I did my masters from London. I did my masters in international business and finance from Greenwich University in London.
It has helped you in your career?
In terms of operationally, it has not helped me, but in terms of strategy, in terms of way of approaching things, that has made much more better impact which could be created over there. So yes, what we learned in our masters about the strategies, about the way of looking at things and how the approach should be, that has helped a lot.
And you, after then completing your studies, you joined your family business, Veena Developers. So firstly, 2 questions on that. Why real estate and why joining the family business?
So to be honest, I was never supposed to come back to India, but because of some circumstances and situations, I had to come back to India and join family business, because that was the only reason which I came back to Mumbai. Moreover, real estate, I found there was a lot of, I had a liking towards it from long before, because it's more than a business, it's more of interacting with a lot of people. We are in this business for every project is like setting up an individual business altogether. In every project, you have a different landlord. In every project, you have a different architect. In every project, you have a different corporation people to deal with. You have different ward offices. You have different architects. You have different consultants. You have different set of channel partners. You have different set of customers. So it's more of interactive, and that is the most important part of which I liked a lot. That is interaction with a lot of people. So average, if you see, one project makes you introduced to at least 40 to 50 new people. Now multiply by a number of projects.
So you are the second generation of Veena developers, and one thing I would like to know, which might help me, considering this business, it's a very much dependent on the local market. Like, let's say it's fully dependent on Mumbai. It's not possible to learn the Bombay's real estate in some other place. So an experience plays a lot of importance in this business, considering the real estate industry. How did you cope up from the day of your joining the business till date? How has your journey been?
So I have to tell you, this industry is changing so fast and so quick. Only an important aspect of business, which was policy. In 2012, our elders must remember that there was an entire paradigm shift from the old DCR to new DCR. There was a new DCR which came in 2012. The people who are doing this business from 30 years, 40 years, followed a specific rule book to follow. After 2012 it came, the people who entered the business in 2012-13 and people who are doing business from past 30 years, they have bring it to a same battlefield level. So you start again, you have to restart, reboot in this industry. So basically it doesn't make much of difference, but in terms of decision making, yes, experience matter, but in terms of the detailing part, whether you are new, whether you are old, that does not matter. I feel it's important that you have the capability, ability and aptitude to learn things and your passion towards it.
So moving on to the main discussion for today, which is fully going to be revolving around the redevelopment in Bombay. And you do SRA, MHADA, BMC, all three kinds of redevelopment. So it would be great if you can explain how each of these three schemes differ within themselves, starting from BMC redevelopment.
So in BMC redevelopment, there is to explain you in detail, it's a private plot where there are certain provisions of DCR in terms of policy which helps you to develop those projects. It may be varying from different kind of FSI over there. Every scheme has a different FSI available. You are dealing with private land, society land with the tenants, and it's a regular course of redevelopment. In terms of SRA, there may be a private SRA or there may be a SRA which has been there on a public land, whether it is owned by collector, whether it is owned by any form of government which owns that land. So the people to rehabilitate those people who are on government land or a private land is a part of SRA. Now the difference between both, in BMC, the option to provide extra area is on the developer and the society. But in SRA, there is a fixed rule of providing 300 square feet to each and every SRA member. So that rule is very clear. So in terms of workability and in terms of looking at things, SRA is much more easier because you don't have to negotiate with your tenants over there because they know that it's a government rule. You are going to get 300 square feet. But which is not the case in BMC redevelopment or a MHADA redevelopment. But the other part of SRA is it requires a different kind of skill set towards SRA to develop. There are a lot of local issues. You're dealing with people who are not aware about things. You're dealing with people most of them are below poverty line people. So there are the challenges of doing a BMC or a MHADA redevelopment and doing an SRA redevelopment are entirely different. What are the benefits over there are the cons over here, and what are the cons over here are the benefits over there. And now in terms of MHADA, there are two types of MHADA redevelopment which are taking place right now. One is in area sharing and one is in premium sharing option with MHADA. So now there is a lot of MHADA land which most of the buildings in MHADA are 30 years and old, which MHADA had developed in their time. So now those tenants are also coming up for redevelopment, and MHADA has also become better in terms of providing FSI. There are policies are much more clearer and better, and a lot of MHADA redevelopment versus BMC redevelopments are happening right now, currently.
I don't know how a building or a plot is categorized as MHADA. Why that particular plot is called MHADA plot?
Identification, the land which belongs, the underneath land below which the building is belonging to the MHADA. So the landlordship is with MHADA. So that is called MHADA redevelopment, which gets developed under a scheme 33.5. And the building which was made originally was done by MHADA at that point of time. So that is called MHADA redevelopment land.
Do you have any personal choice regarding SRA, MHADA, BMC?
So I feel that you should have projects across the portfolio, because some policies, now we are in a state of transition. Every year, every quarter, there are different rules which are coming up in place. Some might benefit you, some might hit you. It depends on regulation to regulation. If you have your portfolios across the board, sometimes you'll get a good part of it, sometimes you'll get a hit on it. So it's better that you have hands across the board, and it gives you versatility in terms of your development. Sometimes MHADA is working very well, BMC is not doing well. Sometimes BMC is doing very well, SRA is not doing very well. Sometimes SRA is doing very well, but MHADA is not doing very well. So whenever you are in a you are in a running treadmill, so you should have all your legs running over there.
Currently, you're having 9 projects.
Yes.
So what would be your mix of these 3 sectors?
So out of this 9 projects, 3 projects which we are doing is MHADA, 4 projects we are doing is under BMC, and 3 projects which we are doing is under SRA.
So it's 30-40%.
30-40%.
So now it has been observed, and always like there is this talk of the town that redevelopment is the future of Bombay. What is your thought on that?
So redevelopment is the future is very well said, because right now we don't see much open land right now, and if you want to do a volume business, redevelopment or SRA is only way of doing it right now. Now in redevelopment there are pros and cons. What happens right now? There is a lot of, as you earlier said, there is a lot of supply which is coming in. Now who are the buyers for that supply? Are the people staying in their old building who wants to upgrade themselves because maybe their family has grown up, or maybe their lifestyle has grown, or they have earned a certain amount of money which they want to upgrade their lifestyle. Now when the redevelopment in all the areas are going in such a mass scale right now, you're offering, so the basic idea of redevelopment is they are using an X area, you provide them X plus Y area, and they get a certain amount in terms of corpus or as corpus, and they get a bed, 1 room extra or a 2 room extra they get. So we are killing our own customers because of that, in terms of the projects which are ongoing. Because for example, you might be a buyer in one of my project, you want to go from a 2 BHK to a 3 BHK, but now your own project has gone for a redevelopment process. You will think, why should I invest another capital in buying a new flat? Rather, I would wait for another 3 years or 4 years time. I would definitely get a bigger apartment for myself. So I feel in one terms, we are killing our own customers when we are doing a lot of redevelopment at a chunk. Tomorrow, we have to look at things like that. How will we be able to sell the products which we are making? Because most of our buyers are always people who are staying in the old building wants to upgrade them. And now as a developer, we are going for redevelopment and providing them a bigger house with a negligible, which they don't have to pay any cost for, only time has to be invested. So majority what we have observed that customers who had visited our site staying in old buildings have postponed their decisions because their own building have gone for redevelopment. Now whether you buy an under construction project or you go for a redevelopment, normally it takes 3 to 4 years time. And right now, because of RERA coming in, because of good governance, and the developer who are doing this business understands that the project needs to be delivered on time. So when people are doing redevelopment, there are very few chances that project will get delayed for any kind of a reason. Because a developer makes sure that when he starts the project, he has the entire approval with him, he has the entire financial closure with him, then only we'll get into that project. So in terms of that, the people who are going to get redeveloped are very much satisfied in their mind that within 3 years or 4 years, I will get my apartment back. So we are killing, by doing a lot of redevelopment, we are killing our own customers.
My question to that, will redevelopment be sustainable then?
Definitely redevelopment will be sustainable. So there is no problem with that. What the real worry is the sale component which will arise out of that. To whom it will be sold to? That is the most important
And
question.
another thing that just struck me is that the cluster scheme that has came in, and that is again killing hundreds of customers which are going to get much bigger flats, and also which is going to bring huge number of flats for the sale.
So we need to understand that as a developer, more FSI does not mean more profit. Government become a part of a business. They are doing business by selling a notional value called FSI, whatever nomenclature you may use it as. As a developer, we have to be very vigilant. We have to be very calculative about, do we require so much FSI to be consumed on that said land? Because there is no compulsion on the developer whether to use it or not to use it. And certain redevelopment projects, we have made sure that we will not go beyond certain FSI. We will not go beyond certain height of the building, because it changes the timelines, it changes the cost of approval, it changes the cost of construction. All this factor plays a very important role right now for a redevelopment project. Now our offer to the buyer is also on subject to consumption of only this much FSI. Your potential may be, we can develop 10,000 square feet on your land, but we give offer that will only consume 8,000, will consume 8,500, will not consume another 1,500 square feet of FSI.
Won't that reduce the profitability of the project?
So basically the offer is according to such to the redevelopment, because important is what your question was, a developer sustainability. How will a developer sustain? So one thing is, we have to look at the two part. One is how fast you sell, and on the other part, within what less cost you can develop that project. In cost, maybe in terms of your design, in terms of your construction cost, in terms of your approval cost. If you design it well, there are a lot of ways and means to save approval cost also. So looking at all these factors, you need to do business.
Approaching a society for a redevelopment is always a very complex process. What is your thought, and what strategies you might be using to make it much more simpler, or at the end have a win situation?
So approaching a society, discussing, negotiating, debating with them is all about your PR. How better you do the PR with the people, that much effective and that much successful you are in closing with them right now. One thing is for sure, if there is a society which has 3 developers, all of them have provided same offer, same corpus, 1-2% here and there. Now the important is, how can you give more comfort to the society? How can you make them feel that you are part of your own family, or you are more of acquaintance? You need to create that comfort zone, and that comfort zone can only be created when, as an entrepreneur or as a developer, you are directly involved in it. So that is the only reason for success. Second, most important, the people who are the societies which are coming for redevelopment, they want faster results. We have seen that certain societies takes 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years to come to an agreement with the developer. After that, the process starts. So that is another 1 year, 1.5 years. So from a selection of a developer till the process start, it takes around 2.5 years, 3 years. Till that time, the enthusiasm within the society and the members is already evaporated. So you have to make sure that if you are doing a society redevelopment, you are able to execute the agreement within 2 months or 3 months time. You are able to get approvals within next 3 to 4 months time. From the time you have acquired that society, you are able to vacate the society between 9 to 12 months time. And from that 36 months, 42 months, 48 months, whatever timelines you have decided, you deliver that on time. So if you complete that cycle within that short span of time, the developers will also be happy in terms of their cost, in terms of the money which they have calculated will be made. The society will be happy because they got the homes which they desired in a specific timelines what they wanted over there.
Timing seems a very important factor that you have to complete the project in a particular amount of time. There are certain ways due to which project gets delayed. Can you share certain things that you have to have these parameters to make the project delivered on time?
So first important thing when you do a redevelopment project, most important is your approvals. You should try as a developer that you get maximum approvals, maximum FSI loaded before you start the project. It depends. We understand that redevelopment in terms of any other development has become a very capital intensive right now. Government also understands that because of that, they have provided us installment facilities in all the sections of DCR. You maximize, instead of doing 10 projects, we would rather do 5 projects, complete those 5 projects in a specific time frame, and again go to another 5 projects. So what's most important, the best scenario would be you get the entire approval on day 1 before vacating. So your project becomes entire risk-free from approval point of view. Second thing is your financial closure. You plan your finances in such a way that you are sure that certain amount will be through debt, certain amount will be through customers, certain amount will be your capital over there. So you need to know that how your finances are going to work for the project.
Any particular amount you think that should be always prepared from a developer's own capital?
So I feel that depending on project to project, there is no thumb rule, but at least 25 to 30% of your project cost, developer's capital has to be available before entering into any kind of arrangement over there. But it's not a thumb rule. Depends on project to project, depending on the sales velocity, depends on that. But for a best scenario, 25, 30, 35%, a developer should be having that much capital reserved before starting of that project over there.
Coming back to approvals, before vacating, you can get a certain amount of approvals. What are those approvals?
So there are, in terms of BMC, as you said, there are 2 ways of doing it. You load the TDR and then you vacate, or you don't load the TDR and you vacate, and TDR is almost your sale component. So most of the developer prefer because of cash flow, that TDR will take it at a later stage. And when you take that at a later stage, which is 1 year, 1.5 years from the vacating stage, if by any reason policy changes, or our government, the most difficult part of our business is that all the policies, negative policies which come, are retrospectively effective. So that is the major challenge which all the developers and all the association are trying to fight towards it, but still the policy which comes in a retrospective effect. Now imagine if you are in a situation, you have vacated the building, your members area is approved, before that they will never vacate. Your TDR with the money which you are going to get against what you have developed is not there only, and because of policy reason, it is stuck. Now imagine the situation, how it is going to be.
Coming to, like, we're talking about TDR, there is a huge problem going on right now. Any views on that?
There are various schemes also which government is offering. You switch on to those schemes. Society also understands at certain level because of... So one thing we need to understand, society people are as smart or maybe much smarter than us. They know more than us, or they don't. So it is not a case that they don't know things which we know. They know everything. Maybe they know 2 things more than a developer. Because for us it is business, for them it is their house. So definitely everyone will do their due diligence part and everything. Now when you have a practical problem, as you mentioned, you approach the society, you discuss with them, by this is the situation right now, this is this. My capital is available because of the scarcity, it is not in a developer's hand. So either you wait or we change the scheme accordingly, and we can renegotiate, or however you want to do it. Amicable way we can do it. So that is how we have to approach.
Might have this problem made acquisition a little difficult?
Maybe, but I think so that problem is a short-term problem. Maybe in a 6 months' time, it might get resolved over there.
Coming to redevelopment again, there are huge set of advantages, like in terms of the old members who are getting a better area, better parking space, better amenities, lifts, much more newer, stronger structure and everything. But are there any drawbacks?
So redevelopment, you have to understand your rent cost is a recurring cost. before the project, when you are acquiring the project, you have calculated X amount as your rent. Now, because of any kind of delay, which is not because of the developer, because of unseen circumstances like COVID. So in those cases, you have to plan your contingency. Your P&L account is never fixed in redevelopment. What are you going to make the money? Because all the costs are variable. Your approval cost may be variable. Your rent may be, your time to complete the project may be variable. In certain huge projects, if you take part occupation certificate, certain societies don't prefer part occupation certificate. They don't get into your apartment. So till the time you have not completed your sale component, they will never get into the building. So your rent cost exceeds. Moreover, there are a lot of fluctuating costs which will happen. So your P&L is not defined basically. Your cost is not defined. So you have to keep that contingency in your mind. Second is redevelopment projects are not heavily margin projects because most of the projects are acquired through tenders. Society takes every bit of, they know your whole calculation. Average profit of this industry is not more than 15 to 18% on your cost, which we've divided it in a span of 3 years or 4 years. So 5 to 6% a year, which is less than a fixed deposit rate today as of now. So they know the calculations very well. They go in the market. There are 5 to 10 developers competing for a project. So you are working on a very thin margin in redevelopment. So important is efficiency and how smartly you come out of the project quickly. That is the most important part.
Great tips. Can we discuss few ways of optimizing the planning for a project?
So in terms of planning, for the most important aspect which not lot of architects look at things like that, is your open space deficiency premium, which is a very high premium for a developer. Now the FSI is so much, most of the projects which are constructed in Mumbai are more than 70 meters to 120 meters. So आप एवरेज समझ लो 21 माले से लेके 40 माले की बीच की सारी बिल्डिंग है. Now the deficiency is huge. For a single project, we consider a 2000 square meter plot will have a deficiency of 3 to 4 crore rupees minimum. Now depending on the size of the plot, it keeps on increasing. You plan such a way that your deficiency decreases. In one project, when we had selected a particular design to do things, our deficiency was coming up to 19 crore rupees. But we changed the design, that came to 7.5 crore rupees. So you have to let go of certain things. You have to plan it efficiently. You have to look at project in such a way which you have never looked at it. So you have to keep working on your drawings and bring efficiency to your drawing. Now in terms of your construction cost, the design has to be made in such a way that there is no usability of more steel and cement and concrete, unwanted areas to be deleted. Don't construct unwanted areas in the building. Construct what is required, because all the contractor charges on your construction area. They don't charge on your carpet area or your built-up area or your FSI area. They charge you on a construction area. If you can avoid basement, avoid basements if you can.
Basement has a more cost compared to other.
Yeah, basement has a more cost comparatively, and contractor charge you. For example, you are making a 10,000 square feet basement. Contractor will charge you either on 15,000 square feet or 20,000 square feet because there's a lot of work which needs to be done.
It's kind of 1.5, 2x.
1.5 to 2x over there on that. So depending on how the project is designed, if you can avoid basements, try to avoid basements. If we can make more podiums over there. Try not to go for more of mechanical parkings because ultimately that includes more cost on the project. Rather we do surface parkings with a regular height given. Concentrate more on your MEP over there.
If there are these two situations, you have to do a mechanical parking and or else you have another option to increase the floor of podium and do surface parking. Which of it is more expensive?
I would prefer to do podium without mechanical because ultimately mechanical is more of a hassle in future right now. Developing RCC slab is only a one-time cost over there.
And also it mitigates many other risks.
Many other risks also. Accidental risk, AMC risk, all those kind of risks.
Coming to project failure, have you witnessed, like, not in terms of a particularly fully failure of a project, but like maybe failing in some particular aspect or some planning or some cost cutting or anywhere? And what was that failure? And did you learn something from that?
So one project where we had done, it was a greenfield project where we had taken approvals in part 10 parts. Now in the transition of that, we have seen 2 DCRs changing and 2 policies changing on a specific project. It was a pre-DCR project. We cannot say it was a mistake, it was a trend at that time. The business used to happen at that way only. We saw a project which was a 30-story tower. First 10 floors developed under DCR 1991. Another 10 floors developed under DCR post-fungible. So below part is pre-fungible, the above part is post-fungible. And the transition from PD to post, either you pulled out that entire 10 floors which you have constructed and restarted again, or you bring the best out of 2 and continue with that project, was a major challenge at that point of time, which was there. So always my advice would be that try to get maximum approvals before you start the project.
How did it impact you? Time, cost, both? Or
Time, cost, energy, efforts with everyone, even with your constructor, contractor, whether with your customer, whether with it internally, within your consultants, everywhere. The project which was supposed to be done in 2.5 years took 4.5 years. So 2 years of your time has gone, your energy, your admin cost, your interest cost, everything went on that project.
any others learnings from any particular project?
This industry, you have to be very vigilant legally. There are a lot of laws which are coming up. You have to have a good infrastructure when you're doing redevelopment projects or SRA projects or MHADA. You should have that capability and should have that infrastructure to cater to that. All the queries or all the issues which comes up needs to be addressed very quickly, because if we take those issues very lightly, tomorrow it can become a major problem of that. For example, there was an issue of property tax in Pan Mumbai that they used to charge on your entire on your FSI area. When you're calculating your PNL and you have never think about it, that this law will change so fundamental that a property tax amounting to rupees 60 lakh or a 70 lakh rupees per year goes up to 6 crores, 7 crores a year. So no one calculates that. So as a developer, most important part is start early, complete early. That is the most important motto which you have to follow. What you can do tomorrow, please do it now, and what you can do now, please do it right now.
Kal kare so aaj kar, aaj kare so
abhi kar. It is like that.
We talked about failures. Coming to the successful projects of yours, what made them successful? Can you say it with live examples, names?
Similarly, as I told you, at that time when we were on this DCR changing level, we were doing 4 to 5 projects at that point of time. Out of that, this one project where part approval was taken and part was not. On the other hand, certain projects had the entire approval available with us. So we were able to complete those projects within timelines what we had decided. That change in law did not apply to us. Second thing, as an organization, we don't believe in debt. So as of now, we are a debt-free organization right now. So we always believe in sales. So we have always tried to sell and sell quicker and faster over there. So this trend we follow from the inception when my father had started the business. So that is what most of our projects, when we are on the construction phase, basically after plinth, we are 70 to 80% sold out in most of our projects. So your project becomes cash flow positive, and it's only a matter of time. Your project is not slowed down because deficiency of capital. It is, because you have money coming in, you can increase your pace of construction, what you are doing within 15 days, 14 days, because of any technological improvement which you can bring into your project. With the cost, you are able to get that achieved within 7 days, 8 days, 9 days. So your project delivery time reduces over there.
Don't you think sometimes taking debt helps in expansion and growth of a company, not particularly sticking to real estate for this question?
So debt is ultimately at the end of the day taking away your profits. Whether debt is, you have to keep paying. Our industry is such volatile Today, if you're doing a project, today you may sell 100 apartments in 1 month time. But post that 9 months, it might be a situation you are not able to sell 15 to 20 apartments also, because market scenario keeps on changing. In good times, it's good, you are able to serve that. But what about the bad times? So if you will see across the story of MMR and Bombay, we have seen a lot of issues with the developer because they were heavily debted. And we have seen the outcome, what it has come. So debt at a reasonable amount is good. Application of that money is good. But I feel if you considered it as a part of your growth capital, I think so it's a most dangerous situation to be in.
Understood. You are part of Credai-MCHI and serving
Right.
as the youngest treasurer for
Maybe.
the time.
Right.
What are your thoughts on becoming a part of an association, and how has it helped you becoming better?
So as I told you that I always liked PR from my early days over there, and that was the main reason I joined business. Now we are in our own institute. When we are in our office, we are the bosses. To learn something new, to look for something new, how the trend is changing, how the markets are behaving, what are the other people doing to cater those kind of changes, and how they are changing themselves. How do you learn that? So I found that as an associate, when you are connected to an association, you get the people from the same fraternity who has the same set of problems, but everyone deals it in a separate way. So one of the reason is that what challenges, what problems will arise, you can share and come out with the solution within that fraternity in an association. Second is there are a lot of policy changes which comes up. There are certain policies which are very damaging to the industry, which damages our business. So as an individual, how much can you appeal? But when you go collectively as an association, definitely it makes an impact, and there are government hears you in a positive way, and you come up with a positive outcome, because if one faces a problem, nobody else. But if 1,000 faces a problem, everybody hears. It is like that. Second thing, in terms of, what was your question?
Credai-MCHI, how has that helped you become better?
So Credai-MCHI had helped us. I joined my business in 2014. From that, this industry is changing very fast. First, it changed every 3 years. Now it is changing every year. The way of doing business, the way you sell, the way you approach, the way you deal with people is changing daily. So Credai-MCHI has helped me very much to have that capability to change faster. So that helps. For example, we see 10 developers. You may be rigid to certain ideas, but when you hear another 9 developers along with you, they have accepted those changes. So that subconsciously, you also accept that हाँ भाई आपको ये कर लेना पड़ेगा, अपने को भी change होना पड़ेगा.
Got it.
So it is like that.
आज technology is evolving at a very fast rate. आपके thoughts क्या है Proptech को लेके?
So in terms of Proptech, when you are doing a very scalable business, now our industry has become very compliant after RERA coming in. From a observatory body, now it has become a regulatory body. First it was only declarations, now it is justifications right now. So with that evolving time, it's good for the industry it has become this, because now when a developer is doing a project and you have a RERA number, it gives a comfort zone to the customer. Okay, by RERA registered है आपका, यहाँ खरीदने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So in terms of it is a good part over there. But you, at the other end, the compliances have gone so high in every department. Now you need to have a Proptech in your system or in your genetics right now to cater to these all online compliances over there.
Do you use any software in your organization?
Yeah, so we use ERP FarVision right now across the board for our compliances, for our sales, for our accounting prospect over there.
Has it made a change before you
Very
were
much.
using that?
Very much. What happens, there are a lot of datas which we have to give. One is your income tax department, one is your GST department, one is TDS. There are a lot of disclosure from. Now, it might not intentionally, it might happen that because of human error, different datas may go anywhere. Now, you need to sync that entire data. ERP is very important, because your sales is working somewhere else, your CRM team is working somewhere else, your accounting is doing something else. So to bring them on one page, this kind of platforms are very much required right now. I would suggest to developers please invest in technology. It's not a cost, it's an investment. You may not get the benefits 1 year, 2 years down the line, but at least 5 years down the line, definitely you will see the changes which has helped to grow yourself. You will be able to realize the data analysis, what happens. हम क्या करते थे, पैसा आ रहा है, सामने दे रहे, धंधा अच्छा चल रहा है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. बट हम जो किया वो सही किया, गलत किया, we never analyze ourselves. So this kind of PropTech helps us to analyze our own self right now. Did we do well? Did we not do well? What went wrong, and how can we improve things? Second thing, it reduces more of human efforts right now. Now, human resources has become a major problem in city like Bombay. It has become expensive, and good resources have become scarce right now. So if you have this technology, your efficiency will be better if you are doing multiple projects at a time.
Understood. What would be your advice to young people in this industry and who are aspiring to become developers or maybe some other role also in this industry?
See, for the people who are thinking to enter this industry, please understand it's riding a ship in a ocean with lot of bad weather. So be prepared for it, and you should have that passion to keep doing things over here. I think most of our developers in MCHI Credai, we have a youth wing. There are more than 600 youth wing members over there who are less than 40. Most of them whom we talk personally are, they're 24/7 on work. Even they may work on Sundays also. So what do you say? Doing real estate is not an easy business to deal with. You will have to require a lot of hard work, and it will come along with passion. So if you think that we are doing a 10 to 6 job as a corporate kind of thing, in this industry it is quite difficult to get into that trend. So it demands a lot of hard work from people. So if you are ready to work hard, now if you are comparing risk versus rewards, hard work versus returns, what you are getting, and looking at the numbers and the profitability, how industry operates, depending on that, then you decide that we would do rather something else. So it's better you think you make it very wisely, but when you're getting into it, then get deep into it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Going back a little to our conversation where we were discussing about various kinds of redevelopment, the new scheme, which is the cluster scheme, can you explain that?
So cluster scheme has come right now recently, 2 years back, I think so right now, which is called a 33-9 scheme. It was applicable in city of Bombay. It was not applicable in suburbs. Now it has been applicable in suburbs right now. So there were a lot of societies which were developed whose land versus the structure constructed, they have overconsumed the FSI. For example, the plot area was 6,000 square meter, but they have consumed 90,000 square feet. The plot area was 7,000 square meter, they have consumed 140,000 square feet. 1.5 FSI, 1.8 FSI, 2 FSI are already been consumed, and those buildings are on the verge of dilapidation. So government has come up with a scheme to develop these kind of overconsumed buildings, and as a collective development. Certain areas क्या होता था कि एक 500 मीटर पे एक बिल्डिंग, 600 मीटर पे एक बिल्डिंग, 900 मीटर के एक बिल्डिंग. There were small buildings on small plot of land, and because of that the infrastructure work got restricted. Now when it comes a consolidated development, it becomes a better development. You provide better infrastructure. Government can build better infrastructure for them right now. So these were the two reasons why this cluster had come up right now, because those societies were never got touched, who were overconsumed from past 15 years. The redevelopment trend has come from past 15-17 years. Those societies, they were never touched by any of the developers because they were not financially viable to the developer. So this cluster scheme gives them opportunity to take the benefit, and it's a win-win situation both for the developer as well as for the society members right now.
Understood. Coming to the main aspect of every business, of any industry, the customer. What is your take on how should a customer be treated?
So this is one industry which is the best part about this industry. There are a lot of industries where you have to give credit period to your purchasers or your customers. There are certain chances that it can become a bad debt in organization. In this industry, your product is you get the keys of your house or your unit which you have purchased after paying the entire 100% consideration amount. Without that, even they have paid you 99% and 1% is yet to be given, you don't offer them keys or you don't give them keys, right? So in this business, bad debt in terms of consumer, it is next to impossible that it is going to happen. But vis-a-vis, you should understand that the trust which the customer is keeping on the developer. He is betting his entire life savings and earnings on a developer in an under construction project. He is taking loan on behalf of you and paying you the installments, and he's paying the pre-EMI for that. So you have to be very responsible towards your customers while taking any decisions of your business, because their customers' life savings, customers' aspiration, customers' needs are dependent on your decision which you take right now. Every family, every customer, अब home buying is an emotional decision. हमने आज ये 4 BHK का घर खरीदा, 3 BHK का घर खरीदा, तो उसके पीछे कई सारे रीजन एक्सेप्ट फॉर फाइनेंशियल वायबिलिटी, there will be much other reasons also to buy that 3 BHK or a 4 BHK. He will think that his son will get, after we get this house, he'll get his son married in this house. There will be certain other social factors also which might be playing important role in that. Now you postpone because of XYZ reason, that factor, that aspiration gets postponed. The planning which that customer had done towards for buying that house is failed. Then ultimately that customer is not happy even if you have delivered a very good house. So time quality is the essence of this right now.
Have you faced any problems from customers regarding anything? And how should a developer's approach should be for that?
See, there will be currently we have around 2,400 customers in our portfolio right now. Everyone is not the same. There are good customers, there are bad customers. We may say that we have to accept it what it is. There are 90% customers who pays their installment as a developer on a regular basis. There are 5 to 7% people who don't pay on regular basis. They fail their installment, 2 installment, 3 installment, because of some reasons may be genuine and some reasons it's just they want to delay your payment, but they want to invest somewhere else and get a better return, and then they want to pay you back. So you have to tackle everyone. Most important is at the end of the day, when you are making a product, you will get the money from them. Then only is going to get the product. So you have to handle with care basically. You have to it's like a lock. Every lock has a different key. So you have to approach with them with a positive mindset rather than discouraging them or maybe posing them penalties and interest and all those kind of things.
As Veena developers, you have operated in which all markets?
So we have operated in MMR region. We are doing a PMAY project in Palghar. We are doing a lot of projects in Gujarat also, in Bhavnagar district over there.
Can you explain about PMAY?
So PMAY is the scheme is called Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where in 2014 PM Modi had introduced this scheme where the homes will be made for a specific income salary people. For EWS category, it was 3 lakhs and for LIG category, it was 6 lakhs. So people whose income is 3 lakhs can able to buy this, and for LIG whose income is 6 lakhs could buy that apartment. It was on a specific areas also were described for them. Government used to contribute 2.5 lakh from government as a subsidy to that buyer. Whatever is your cost of apartment, 2.5 lakh rupees will be given by the government. Out of that, 60% will be state government, 40% will be central government. Within that, in MMR region, stamp duty is 6% and 7% right now. For these kind of under PMAY project, the stamp duty is only 1,000 rupees for the customer right now. So there is a lot of benefit for these kind of customers. The whole idea is to uplift the people who are below poverty line and they get their own houses.
Is it profitable from a developer's perspective?
See, profitable, as of now, it is not as much profitable. But as a part, what we are doing is as a part of our CSR activity. You don't make money out of it. You marginally may get cost, or sometimes there will be a minor loss also. But it is when you are doing 3,000, 4,000 apartments for over a year. So it's our moral and social responsibility to do something for the poor also.
Great work. You also work in Gujarat.
Yeah. So we do industrial and cold storage projects out there.
So how does that work
So
for
that's
you?
an entire separate set of business over there. In industry, you make industries. There's a lot of small scale industries which are coming up in Gujarat right now. So we set up industries for that. Then they operate over there. Cold storage is as Bhavnagar district, near Bhavnagar. There is a port over there. So a lot of food grains and tomatoes and onion comes to there for export. So that transition period is 1 month, 1.5 months, 2 months, 3 months. So till that time, if these products are not stored in a specific temperature, then it gets soiled, it gets spoiled. So they store their products out
The
there.
source of revenue in this business is rental income.
Rental income from
How
that.
much?
It's an operating business. So you can't say rental income. It depends on the quantity of amount which store comes. Even it is saved for domestic consumption purpose also. Onions and potatoes, you require it across the year. But their growing seasons are only 2 months, 2.5 months
Right.
over there. So rest 12 months out of this are being stocked under this cold storages for domestic consumptions of that local area or however.
Is it a good business for a person to get into?
Except for real estate, you require certain diversification also. So it is one kind of diversification which we do over there. But with this, where it's connected to real estate, but another kind of way of doing business. Yes.
It was a good session and it was great talking to
Thank you, Krish. I had a lot of. It's good that youngsters like you have aspirations to hear, learn, and trying to come into this business and getting your ground strong.
That has been the motive. I'm very grateful for you being here, coming here, giving your time and sharing this knowledge with me. Hope to see you soon again on this platform.
Thank you so much, Krish. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.